Good afternoon, Year 5. Lovely to see you again. This is our third session of our 4 sessions of artwork. Brilliant work last week. It was absolutely amazing. A, to see you working in the class, and then B, to see the blogs that were put up on the school website. So just carry on doing that work. It was brilliant. Now this week, it's going to be a lot freer. You're going to have a lot more reign to be as creative as you possibly would like to be. It's freer and a bit messier, but if we're careful in what we're doing, we shouldn't make too much mess. So we're going to be working in, as I say, in the negative. We're going to put graphite onto the paper, and then we're going to take that off using the rubber or eraser. So we're actually going to be mark making with the rubber, taking stuff off rather than putting stuff on. So we'll go through a short session of warm-up activities this week, and then we'll go on to the main activity. So have lots of fun with this one. See you soon. Okay, for our warm-up activity, we're going to take a pencil, and on a plain sheet of paper we're just going to draw a square, and we're going to try and fit in about 5 squares, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's more of a rectangle than a square, but it doesn't really matter. So we've got 5 squares, and we're going to take our pencil sharpener, and quite carefully, I'm using a graphite pencil, so if you've got those, it's brilliant, but if not, you just have to take the wood away from your shavings. So I'm just going to shave my pencil over that pot, or little box there. It's not a pot, it's a box. I'm going to carefully, working from the middle, moving outwards. So I started in the middle and moved outwards, like so. It doesn't matter if it's outside of the box. All that matters is that we've got a darker area and a lighter area. So we'll take the second box. I'm just going to try and put the same amount of sharpenings in there. And this time I'm going to go from top to bottom. I'm going to work my way across. I think I must have put some more sharpenings on there. So I'm just working my way from side to side. So now I've got a slightly darker one there. So I've got one that I started in the middle and one that I started going up and down. The next one, box 3. Put my graphite on there, and I'm going to do small circles and as the graphite wears out I'm having to press a little harder. So when I start off, not too hard, and then press a little harder. So on this one I'm going to put very few sharpenings on, so just a tiny little bit. So I'm going to share that with the next box. I'm going to pick some up on my finger and pop them there. And I'm going to start off in the centre, and I'm going to go out and around. So I've got that sort of effect. And then the last one, what shall I do? I'll work out from the middle, a bit like a sun. And now I'm going to add a little bit more to that middle bit. So I just put right in the middle, and I'm going to concentrate on that middle bit. So when I look, I've got those 5 different effects that I've got. This one starts off dark in the middle and moves lighter to the outside because I'm pushing the graphite that way. Here I put an extra bit of graphite on so that I made it up and down. Here you can see where I've made those circular movements, and so I've got lighter and darker areas, a darker area in the middle, and this one a darker area in the middle, and it sort of radiating out, going from the middle to the outside. So have a bit of fun with that. When you've done that, the last thing I want you to do is to put some graphite across the bottom of there, and then I want you to use some of those techniques that we've just used, any old way. So you create something, I don't know what it is, but we've created something. So that's just a random piece. I haven't got a clue what that's going to be, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little look at it. I think this thing in the middle here might be like a tree. So I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to rub out a bit at the bottom, which is going to give me something like a trunk. I'm now going to put maybe some grass. So I'm going to use my rubber and I'm pushing it up at the same sort of pace the whole time and the same height. So that'll give me some interest. You can see that clearly, some interest at the bottom. And then I might put a couple of branches in here. So I'm just going to move my eraser down to take a little bit of that blackness. I've got to press quite hard with this because my eraser is starting to get a bit dirty. I'm going to tidy that up so that looks a bit like some hedges. And now I'm just going to put some on my fingers. I'm going to make some sky because my fingers are already dirty. I don't need any more on there. So just have an experiment and see if you can make anything from those little blotches that you've put on the piece of paper, and then by using your rubber eraser to take graphite off the paper, you're creating a different sort of texture. So we've got three main ways of doing this activity, and you can choose whichever way you'd like to go about doing it. Now this one, the first one I'm going to show you, is pretty much the same as we did in our warm-up activity. I put some dark colours here, round and round, and I put some darker blotches down through here. So I just applied those to the paper first of all. And then when I saw it, I thought this looks a bit like a sun, and I could turn this into a landscape, and this is fence posts. So I've used the rubber eraser to get rid of some of the graphite and to create a sun and a landscape. So that's pretty much like we did when we did our warm-up activity. The second set, I just added graphite to the paper and rubbed it round and round. And you can see that's gone in a sort of a swirly pattern. And then I've taken pieces of graphite off with the rubber eraser by just pressing quite hard and taking that up to the top. So I've got this sort of pattern emerging. So I've kept that to very much a pattern. The third one's the same. What I did, I just rubbed graphite across there, and then I just started taking, again, rubbing really quite hard with my rubber, one direction, because that sort of helps doing that. So one direction, and I've ended up with something that looks possibly like something, but it's not supposed to be. It's just supposed to be a pattern, basically. The third one that we're doing is like so, which I've tried to make this into a landscape. So I purposely put, well, I'll show you again in a minute, but I purposely put darker graphite at the bottom and lighter at the top. I purposely made this round shape into the sun, and then I added lines across here, different lines here to here, so that it gave what we call a different texture, so it looks slightly different. And then I outlined, not with my pencil, but with my rubber or eraser, across here and here. And so you get a sort of I'll just show you a little bit closer. You can see it looks a bit like our Hundertwasser field that we did before. And then clouds in the sky and the sun. So there's basically 3 ways of doing that. The other way you can, if you did want to do a picture, first of all, say we wanted to do, I don't know, let's see, it's always quite good to have a sky. So if I drew here, first of all, I'll draw that darker so you can see it more clearly. I'm going to draw a horizon, and then I'm going to have some sea here, and I'm going to draw some clouds here, and I'm going to have my sun right in the middle. So I've just drawn a few things here that are going to help me when I come to do my, this is if you want to do a picture, a figurative picture, something that looks like something. So to help us, instead of not giving us any help at all, I've just put some marks on the paper. This sea is going to be darker, so I'm going to put quite a lot of graphite on there. The sun's going to be quite dark, so graphite there, and then a little bit lighter here. So I'm almost making sure that I've got darker at the bottom than the top. So you can see what I've put here, it's a lot more at the bottom than I've got at the top. I'm going to start off with the sun in the middle. And I'm just going to go round and round and round like so. The clouds, I'm just going over the top of those shapes that I've drawn. And now I'm just using the graphite that I've got on my finger to move that around. Just take some, pinch a little bit from there. So you can see that I'm beginning to build up that sky and the sun. And here the sea, I'm going to do it in this sort of movement. So I'm going to do it like the movement of the sea with my fingers. And now I can see I've got spaces that I need some more. So I'm going to put some more graphite down here. Some more graphite here. And I'm going to keep that movement going. Like so. And then I'm going to come right up to the horizon. So as a start, I'm getting quite a good base for anything else that I wanted to add to that. Now, when I go to the seaside, I see little, what we call, when I was a kid, we used to call white horses, that are the tops of the waves as the waves are breaking. So I'm going to rub just random little curvy bits through that to make that into, and you have to press the rubber really quite hard to do this. You can see the sea is beginning to take on its own shape, so we've got a different feeling on the top to the bottom just because of what we did, how we put that on. I'm going to put I like a few rays coming out of the sun, so I'm just going to do that. Give it a tap, and rub, get rid of my bits and pieces, and then I can see, as I've got there. The other thing you could do, of course, is just do the random one. So you just take your graphite, put it on, And so you get lighter and darker places. Graphite here. Where I haven't got any, I'm adding some extra. Moving that around. And if you wanted, you could put a really dark bit on. My hands are getting more and more filthy now. So like in our practice pieces, you find that you've got a bit of extra. And I'm just going to take all that in. That's a good way of getting rid of that. I'm just going to see if I can find my other rubber. So I'm going to take this now and I'm just going to do some lines. Where shall I do? I've got a nice line here, so I might want to come through there and make a line there. I have to press really hard on this. I might take a little bit of heat off of this to create a little bit of light there. And then, what am I going to do here? Let's just go for it. Just taking those lines up and away. It's really quite interesting, the effect that you get with this, because when you see those really clearly, you can see it's almost like we've made shadows, but we haven't. All we've done is taken some of that off. So try not to get too messy, have fun with it, do what you feel you want to do, and if we're working on paper, you could have a go. If you don't like it, in the bin with it. If you do like it, carry on and see if there's anything else you can do with it. When I see you in the Zoom, we'll see what we can do to make that even better, if humanly possible. Okay, have brilliant fun with that one. Bye.